SDWT Podcast. It has been some time due to, one could say, not having time. But I think it mostly is due to inefficiency and having, a bit of trouble at this point in time. Managing time as well and maybe even as precise as smartly as it has been, which I think with everything that comes and goes, with everything that can drop and can increase and whatever, this is just what happens. This is a natural occurrence. It just is what it is, basically. But I think as long as something that might be considered like a downwards progression, when this is something that is not sustaining itself, when this is something that can as well change again and be different again, it is totally fine. When it is something or has been something that has stayed in your life and has stayed the same for quite some time now, then you should probably do something about that. What one could do, I think, is just highly it really depends. It highly depends on what we're talking about. But things change, things come, and things go. But yeah, today we're gonna talk about pragmatism, if I have memorized that correctly. Which is once again by Derek Sivers. So a book summary, I would say, for the sake of simplicity, / book notes by Derek Sivers about pragmatism or pragmatism, whatever. I think that is quite interesting. Like the first bit of it already struck me. Nope. There we go. I might just keep it in that way. Because whatever. Or maybe even a bit bigger. Let's make it really big. So that we all can read it. Even on a fucking beamer. Transcript of lectures given at Harvard about the philosophy of pragmatism. I especially like his thoughts on pluralism and monism. This made me want to read more of his writing. The 1800s speaking style takes a bit of effort to parse. Definitely something that I don't want to say dislike, but I'm not really good at writing and reading and understanding Old English. He trusts his temperament. He believes in any representation of the universe that suits it. It loads the evidence for a more sentimental or a more hard-hearted view of the universe. He believes in any representation of the universe that suits it. For me, it kind of feels like amor fati, love, faith, whatever comes, and whatever goes. It, everything is fine. You should even love it. So loving your faith, basically. Few of us have a definite intellectual temperament. We are a mixture of opposite ingredients. Each one presents very moderately. We hardly know our own preferences in abstract matters. Some of us are easily talked out of them and by following the fashion and by following the fashion or taking up with the beliefs of the most impressive philosophers. Okay, yeah. I think so. I don't know. I would say, and I would believe that the majority of us is definitely more into following than leading, which is totally fine. I really do not want to make this, being a leader, being an alpha, being a whatever, make this something that is, of course it is great. Of course, it might get you some attention on, social media. It might get you some, some people being really impressed of you, by you, whatever. In real life as well, your family members, relatives, so to speak, and many more people might be like, wow, that is great, whatever you're doing, you are a leader, you are having your own company or whatever. But I don't think that this is the right representation of, maybe self-employment or entrepreneurship. I think for most people, and, maybe me included as well, being a follower, being a good employee is more of what I want to do, maybe. Or what other people want to do, and this is totally fine as well. You can make your money, you can be good, you can progress, whatever, and have a good life. In the end, I think it is about creating a life for yourself that you, first of all, enjoy, and second of all, find fulfilling. If this is by doing X, Y, or Z, doesn't really matter. No one can live an hour without both facts and principles, so it is a difference of emphasis. The world is one if you look at it in one way, but many if you look at it in another. It is both one and many, pluralistic monism. So in the end, it depends on your perspective. Depends on how you're seeing things, what you're trying to see, of course. I guess that this may be the quote-unquote problem of philosophy as such. A lot of things make sense and a lot of things are quite clear, at least to some people at some point. But, using it or dealing with it is something completely different. And also believing in it and having it part of your daily life so that you can actually take advantage of those thoughts, those perspectives and whatever that you are having. The world is, I've read that already. The evil of the parts is undeniable, but the whole can't be evil. So practical pessimism may be combined with metaphysical optimism. Yeah. People might be selfish. Period. This might be our nature or some, other basic, I don't want to call them laws, but, basic things, basic parts of nature, whether it is human nature or other things' nature. Stoves tends to be hot when turned on. This is its nature, period. This is undeniable, and it is what it is. I should be able to deal with it. But as such, even though I'm burning myself by maybe touching the fucking stove, it might not be evil as such. All abstractions have their use. The pragmatic method is primarily a method of settling metaphysical disputes that otherwise might be indeterminable. Is the world one or many, fated or free, material or spiritual? The pragmatic method in such cases is so to try to interpret each notion by tracing its respective practical consequences. So what difference would it practically make to anyone if this notion rather than that notion were true? If no practical difference whatever can be traced, then the alternatives mean practically the same thing, and all dispute is idle. We ought to be able to show some practical difference that must follow from one side or the others being right. Our beliefs are really rules for action. To develop a thought's meaning, we need only determine what conduct it is fitting to produce. Our beliefs are really rules for action. Yeah, quite. When I really believe that doing sports is gonna make me feel good and that I like doing sports, then I will probably do it. But on the other hand, I guess, when I really believe that I hate a certain task, well, maybe this sentence, maybe this line could also be said like, our beliefs are really rules for action, or our beliefs can indirectly be rules for action. Because I think when I say that I hate something, this might indirectly, because, I am not thinking and believing that I don't want to do this or whatever, that I'm not going to do something. So, in the end, whether it is by this way or the other way, it is definitely changing something, and it is definitely doing something with us. To develop a thought's meaning, we need only determine what conduct it is fitting to produce. A pragmatist turns away from verbal solutions, from fixed principles, closed systems, and pretended absolutes. He turns towards facts, towards action, and towards power. I do want to underline that, therefore, read it again. A pragmatist turns away from verbal solutions, from fixed principles, closed systems, and pretended absolutes. He turns towards facts, towards action, and towards power. What this at least means for me, what I'm reading there, besides the words, of course, having basically a growth mindset doesn't mean that. Not seeing the glass half empty, but half full. Not trying to see, or just trying to interpret or pretend that something is fixed. I can't do something about that because this, that, and the other thing. But maybe focusing on, and I think this whole philosophy might be about just perspective, period. When I see and or believe that I can do something about something, at least a little tiny bit, which I think very often is the case, that we can do something about something, at least a little tiny bit, that, therefore I'm also, first of all, seeing things, and therefore I'm also doing things. What, by the way, like a side note, what I've been seeing over, I think especially the last 12 months of, I don't know, maybe having to do quite a few things, having to do quite quite a lot, being stressed out a lot, and maybe sometimes as well not really liking, sometimes even really disliking the days that I'm having and the days that I'm living, which is definitely not something that should be the case, is that going through those books notes and doing the podcast most often, not always, really lets me shift perspective and shift my focus. So maybe this thought, or some saying that only reading things is not enough. I don't know, I guess I have to read in the first place so that I can do something about the things that I have read. So net reading something, whether I'm doing anything about it or not, is just better than not reading or not consuming things that can be useful for me, period. Just as a side note. So I don't know if 10 minutes of reading something, reading some philosophy, reading some positive stuff a day is enough, or is like a useful tip to have, whatever. Theories are instruments of the ways in which existing realities may be changed, not answers to enigmas in which we can rest. Theories are instruments of the ways in which existing realities may be changed. Ideas become true just insofar as they help us to get into satisfactory relation with other parts of our experience. Purely objective truth in whose establishment the function of a given human satisfaction in marrying previous parts of experience with... What the fuck? I'm sorry. Where was I? Establish the function of giving human satisfaction in marrying previous parts of experience with newer parts played no role whatsoever, is nowhere to be found. The reasons why we call things true is the reason why they are true. To be true means only to perform this marriage function. Purely objective truth truth in whose establishment the function of given human satisfaction in marrying previous parts of experience with newer parts played no role whatsoever is nowhere to be found. The reason why we call things true is the reason why they are true. To be true means only to perform this marriage function. So the marriage function, quite hard for me to understand there. Marrying previous parts of experience with newer parts played no role whatever. So when I'm having a belief and something happens and I consider this belief, whatever I believed in, to be true, then it is truth. Because of course I have, maybe I have thought about it yesterday and it became true the next day, and therefore it is a truth. At least I think it's a truth. Of course, this, it depends on what it is. But what I'm just thinking about is the fact that a lot of things are the truth, are what they are officially, is because we have not yet seen another way of them functioning. So the the sun warming us is a general truth. The sun is warm because we haven't seen yet a sun that is cold, like cold sun. At least I haven't so far. So just this it is actually quite an interesting notion that, okay, something has been true or has been observed, and therefore this is the truth now and in the future as well, period, is quite interesting. But yeah, talk about truths in the plural, about their utility and satisfactionness, about the success with which they work. Objective truth must be something non-utilitarian, haughty, whatever this means, refined, remote, august, exalted. It must be what we ought to think unconditionally. The conditioned ways in which we do think are so much irrelevance and matter for psychology. An idea is true so long as to believe it is profitable to our lives. Truth is what would be better for us to believe. An idea is true so long as to believe it is profitable to our lives. The thing is, when I believe that I'm bad at something, this, obviously is not really profitable to my life. At least, as I'm thinking about it. But it may be kind of profitable in a way of, me saying that I am not good at X, Y, and Z is a very good way to not do this thing, because I myself believe and think it is the truth that I am not good at it, and therefore I shouldn't even try getting better, or I shouldn't even try even doing so in the first place. Because in the past I have done something and I wasn't good at it, and therefore now in the future I think as well that, this is the truth, period. I might actually get, everything that he's writing about here completely wrong and twisted, but, it's fine. Truth is one species of good and not a category distinct from good. The true is the name of whatever proves itself to be good in the way of belief, and good too for definite assignable reasons. If there, by any idea which I believed in, would help us to lead that life, then it would be really better for us to believe in that idea. Yeah, believing, thinking, assuming, seeing it as truth that I am capable of doing X, Y, and Z really would make my life better. Period. Whatever it might be about. If we practically did believe everything that's made for good in our own personal lives, we should be found indulging all kinds of fancies about the world's affairs and all kinds of sentimental superstitions about a world hereafter. Rationalism sticks to logic. Empiricism sticks to the external senses. Pragmatism is willing to take anything to follow either logic or the senses, and will count mystical experiences if they have practical consequences. Its only test of probable truth is what works best. If theological ideas should do this, if the notion of God should prove to do it, how could pragmatism possibly deny God's existence? Don't treat as not true a notion that was pragmatically so successful. So what practical difference can it make now that the world theories mean exactly the same thing and that the dispute is purely verbal? So what practical difference can it make now that the world should be run by matter or by spirit? Yes. Is there actually... Yeah, there's quite a bunch more. Where was I? I think this is definitely the case, and I didn't know that pragmatism is talking about that, talking about the notion that, when something helps me, whether this is the scientific truth or not, why shouldn't I believe in it? Why shouldn't I believe that it is the truth? At least for me. I don't know. The problem that I am seeing is like this. I know that this is good for me, but I also know that scientifically speaking, this is not the truth. I guess this is a really difficult situation to be in. And I think, this is so multifaceted, I think, when I believe and when I say that I am not good at playing tennis, which I think, from past experiences, I am not for real. Does this thought of not being good at something, does this also enable me to do something else better? Does this give me, maybe the time to do something else and being able to focus on something else rather than thinking, well, I could at least try it once more. I could at least, try to get better at tennis, but, for what reason? So this thought of truth, this thought of, usefulness to my life and my being and my whatever, might have just, some underlying tendencies, some underlying consequences that should not be forgotten about, I would say. One more thing. The pragmatist must consequently say that the two theories mean exactly the same thing and that the dispute is purely verbal. The need for an external moral order is one of the deepest needs. God, religion, whatever. The mind with the shortest views is simply the mind of the more shallow man. Yeah. Theologians' evidence for God lies primarily in inner personal experiences. That might be completely made up, might also not be the case. But I totally as well believe, and might have said that before on the podcast, but definitely in private matters, when religion is something that helps you living your life in a better way, healthier way, happier way, why shouldn't you believe in it? Why shouldn't you be using this tool, so to speak, that we're having at our hands? Why shouldn't we? It wouldn't be really sensical to, forget about it, not use it just, because this is not the truth, scientifically speaking, or whatever. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. My shoes are evidently designed to fit my feet, hence it is impossible that they should have been produced by machinery. We know that they are made by a machinery itself designed to fit the feet with shoes. Determinists say that individual man originate nothing but merely transmits to the future the whole push of the past cosmos. God is something august and exalted above facts. If you know whether a man is decided monist or decided pluralist, you perhaps know more about the rest of his opinions than if you give him any other name ending in ist. To believe in, or pragmatist, whatever ist. To believe in the one or in the many, that is the classification with the maximum number of consequences. Yeah, if I believe in one thing, then there is only one consequence. Should be one consequence. On the other hand, when I am believing in many things, whatever it might be, then there are many consequences. If this is good or bad, I would have to think about that. Philosophy has often been defined as the quest or the vision of the world's unity, but how about the variety? Reality's diversities are as important as understanding their connection with an X. I haven't seen this before. When a young man first conceives the notion that the whole world forms one great fact, with all its parts moving abreast, he feels as if he were enjoying a great insight. The monistic insight is so vague. Abstract monism, emotional response to the character of oneness, as if it were a feature of the world. Of course, the world is one, we say. How else could it be a world at all? Thus, the pragmatic question, what is the oneness known as? What practical difference will it make? Saves us from all feverish excitement over it as a principle of sublimity, and carries us forward into the stream of experience with the cold hat. Maybe once again, me believing in the world being a ball, not really a ball, but, for simplicity again, a ball might make things just, way easier for me. Because then I can, and, it is helping me living my life. I do not have to think about what other form the world might have. I can believe I can, use my time for more important tasks, whatever this task might be. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to end the episode here. It's been a good one. I hope that I've been able to read through some things and share some things of importance with you and to you. And I'm hopefully going to see you in the next